Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lied.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Mantra, slave songs, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide isn't run on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep, longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed, begging the generations remember our story.
Yo. Good morning. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. How is everybody doing today? I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Some people celebrate it, some people don't celebrate it, which is fine. But if you were in good company, I'd say that's still a win. Either way, hope you had your full. I'm pretty sure you got food left over. Shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators, etc., etc. I got Coach Trail in the building. I'm going to bring him up here. I got a clip I want to play for y'all. You see the title. Man, this is nasty work. Let me go ahead and bring him up. Do me a solid. Make sure you go support and follow him on his channel as well. What's going on, brother?
Hey man, good morning, man. How you doing? How was your day yesterday?
It was quiet. It was peaceful, and I definitely needed that.
No, I agree, man. Same for me. Just relax. Got my mental in order. Let my mind relax a little bit, hydrated, and just got it in, man. Watching a little bit of TV and a little bit of sleep, a little bit of food, and a little bit of eat, a little sleep. Wash, rinse, repeat all over again.
Right on. Hey, man. I came across this video last night. It was probably around, 10, 11 o'clock. And I was scrolling and I seen it. I'm like, hold up, wait, is this something new? And then when I actually watched it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have to bring this up. Because she went off, and not in the type of way that's uplifting or anything like that. This just sounded ridiculous to me. So I said, let me go ahead and get this up immediately. So I'm gonna play the clip for the people who probably don't know what I'm talking about, and we're just gonna go from there.
Okay, all right, let's do it.
the side. That's what I was saying. Like, I just want to be the side, and I just want you to chill. I don't like him enough to lay up next to him every day. I don't even know how you do it. I'm not gonna start talking about him. You know, I'm not gonna start talking about him, but you know the things about him. Girl, I don't know how you do it. I was just trying to play my little position. He clearly won't stop, and you know he's obsessive. You can like say that you're gonna leave him alone, and he will just call you back to back to back. Get to call your friends, get to call your manager, get to call your assistant, get to sit and stuff. Da, 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 da. It's like free money. So why would you just every now and then you just give in? You'd be like, you know what? Let that take me somewhere. And you know what? I'm actually really glad you did this. Because I was this close. I said, damn, I really want to push and I really want a condo in Miami. But I really kept thinking about.
So we got Summer Walker. Summer Walker is a beautiful woman. She's a talented singer. You know what I'm saying? And she has kids by multiple baby daddies. And now she's coming online because rapper Rich the Kid, I guess she was messing with Rich the Kid. And Rich the Kid already got a girlfriend who was his baby mom and stuff like that. And his girlfriend, who was baby mom again, already beat up some girl that she allegedly thought that was messing with Rich the Kid. You know what I'm saying? So Summer Walker kind of coming to another relationship, kind of she might get hands put on her too. You know what I'm saying? Because we already know Summer Walker has dated many, I ain't gonna say many guys, but a few guys. You know what I'm saying? She already been in a situation with Big Meech, who was an actor, and you know what I'm saying? That situation didn't work out, came out online and stuff like that. A lot of drama with most of these women in society, man. It's like, and just seeing that video right there that Summer Walker kind of coming out and says she wants to be the side chick. You know what I'm saying? It's like, as a guy, you're like, you know what? Should I be upset about that, or should most guys be happy? Like, listen, the side chick is happy to be the side chick. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Y'all women tell me, man. Like, is this what most women think about? You know what I'm saying? Because Summer Walker has everything. She's rich. She's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? She can basically date any guy she wants in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, she's happy and she wanted to be just a side chick. You know what I'm saying? She really made that video because her and the ex-girl, her and Richie Kid girlfriend already came out, and also the audio leaked. That Richie Kid leaked the audio, so she kind of come out explaining herself. I don't know, man. I'm getting kind of mixed feelings about this situation, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this, yo. Do most women really want to be the side?
How do you want to chop that up? Do you want to go off of the question he posed, or do you want to go off of her statement itself? How do you want to tackle this first?
Maybe rephrase this question. I think it's a valid question, and I also think she has some valid points as well. But I guess it's based on how society perceives the choice of what's perceived to be quote unquote successful women in side chick roles. Is it empowering them, or is it something that's problematic? So I guess that's because it seems both. It seems it can be empowering and it can be problematic. So I think based on both of our opinions on this topic, we're going to share both bases of both of them, so we can just kind of go that way.
All right. So this is what I'm gonna start with. I'm gonna start with her statement.
Okay.
Your preferences are your preferences.
Right.
I said that a few times before. Not like I really mean that. Because at the end of the day, we're going to lay with who we want to. We're going to marry who we want to. We're going to build a life with who we want to. And you can't force people to do or move how you want them to move, period. So if that's what she wants to do with her life, that's perfectly okay. My issue with this in particular isn't even about her choice. It's overall about this idea that what she's doing is something that should be celebrated or held to a certain standard of, I made it. I finally achieved greatness by being a woman who would rather settle for someone who is already taken by another person. Jessica, appreciate you. As a, a influencer, as a woman that has a large following, and you've had a lot of success in your lifetime, there are certain messages that you convey to the public, and they can either be beneficial or they can be a very, very tight noose around the neck of a lot of folk that look at this and they think, well, this seems like the more liable position to be in. I don't have to worry about getting cheated on. I don't have to worry about being a helpmate. I don't have to worry about being a follower in a two-person relationship. I can just kind of fall back and I can go on about my way, spend my money, travel, and live how I want without the responsibilities of having a man dictate how I move and live. That's where I have the problem, because the way she's talking is just like, for one, it's okay to intervene or stick her nose in someone else's relationship, even at the cost of destroying a house. But then also what you're saying too is, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm a black woman, and this is what all of us do. So you should get accustomed to it. It's okay, go chase after somebody who has money, because at least if they're gonna do what they do, at least you're getting something out of it in return. And it's okay to do things like this. Those are my initial thoughts, though.
No, yeah, I think it's I think those, nothing wrong with the thoughts, nothing wrong with what she said. I think it definitely aligns to what she was saying. It's just, again, at this point, are we holding people to traditional values, or are we being open to new roles and expectations? We hold on to traditional values, and I don't think in the past, saying traditionally wise, just sticking with that word, there have been so many young women like her who's been in her career has been successful. She's been successful enough to have options, I guess. When you have options, the one thing you don't have to do is stay in between the lines. When you don't have options, you're more subjected to just one or two things. The way things always have been, and in the traditional thinking, it always has been. But if you do have options, now it opens up a door and puts you in a new category, in a new room. So it just depends on which lens that we're looking at it from. And then it opens up the conversation and the dialogue as far as for, relationship choices. You mentioned as far as, affecting, people that's probably looking up to her, and probably for the good reasons, wrong reasons, is indifferent. Their reasons, and people are probably looking up to her because she's providing different things, a different view, a different perspective that they probably don't have access to. And then you can offer pushback and ask, is it what are the reasons that she doesn't want to have, you know, personally a stable person in her life and chooses the side chick role, as she says? Because I'm sure there's a reason why she's choosing that path or that lane. And I think the better thing to do is probably find out, or the better question would be to ask and probe those questions to why she's had certain experiences to develop that mindset and to lead her down that path. So definitely a good entryway to a conversation.
I don't look at what she's doing as a negative. It's only a negative when there's other parties involved that are unaware of the practices. Based on her history, it's not very positive at all. A lot of those decisions dealing with sugar daddies, and I just did a video with her pretty much saying that that's her lane. She prefers to be in that role. That's cool. But like you said, there has to be a conversation. Why do you subject yourself to that? Then on top of that, here's another question. Is it a negative? Is it a negative to be a side chick? Is it a negative to basically say you aren't valuable enough to get your own partner? Is it a negative when you decide that you would rather share someone with another person? Now, again, your preference. My problem comes in again when you can do that, but this woman didn't sign up for that shit. this woman, first of all, you dumb as hell anyway for even still dealing with the dude in the first place, because this ain't the first time that, based off of what we heard here, and he's already been stepping out on her prior to this. She done already gotten the fights over him before. So you're an idiot for even still dealing with him. But she didn't sign up for that. Then again, maybe you did. Is money that important that you would rather play that role than to actually have somebody of quality? I yield the mic.
Yeah, I think it's subjective, because you're talking about whose version of quality, you know what I mean? Whose version of mental stability, and whose version of options, and whose versions of a particular relationship or role works out best for somebody else. I mean, I was with you because you was talking about the actual piece as far as for people looking on, and to maybe they are influenced by those decisions and some of the actions that she has. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? You have to figure that person has to figure out their own happiness and mental wellness when it comes to social norms, societal norms. I don't know what her situation is or how she grew up, man, lacking certain figures, lacking certain love and respect, perhaps being taught value in certain ways. And then you, on top of that, if a person hasn't necessarily healed and they have some of those traumas and issues that they're going through, or that they haven't gone through yet, because typically you have to go through some experiences. And once you go through those experiences, you either learn, one, this is for me, or two, it's not for me. So maybe this is her road travel, and it's just magnified by being on social platforms. And on top of that, you get somebody who you say may or may not have certain traumas that they haven't healed from, and you give them a platform, you give them fame, you give them money. Well, that doesn't mean that they heal because they got the money. That doesn't mean they're gonna make better decisions because they got the money. Now they got more money to make more or less uninformed decisions to potentially spawn into relationships that may be, healthy or non-healthy, just depending on, the mindset or what we're calling healthy and unhealthy today. But the guy in the video, he did say that, well, she's happy. So I would say that maybe I wouldn't say that she was necessarily happy, but say that maybe possibly in the videos that she's displaying and some of the things that she's going through, she may be better off than she was at a certain point in life. So it's showing progress. But again, it just depends on what the objective is to how to measure the progress being positive or negative progress. Because you can still progress negatively because you're no longer sitting at the particular point that you were. So you could be regressing. It's still progress because you're still getting the opportunity to learn from those experiences, and you can pivot and go left or right based on those experiences. So again, it just depends. So yeah, at the end of the day, I would just more or less be focused on the mindset and probably what led us here versus the outline and the outcry from everything from this point on if we're not providing other opportunities on how to maybe make better informed decisions.
I listened to her talk. I've been down this road before with her, and I see these conversations. She sounds like a number of folks, like that echo chamber. They all repeat the same retort. And all I can think about is you got your heart broke. You had some unfortunate situations in relationships, whether it was with your family or it was with your significant other. There's some damage that's been done. And like you said, there's no healing there. And a lot of times when you go through stuff like that, you try to subvert it with other activities and ventures, but all you're doing is kind of coating over it. You don't deal with it. So I don't know. I don't look at a healed person or someone who has their affairs in order mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and think to myself, this is the road that they want for themselves. I can't see not a single strong man or woman putting themselves in a position of servitude like that or degradation like that. But of course, that's just my perspective. Right now, in 2025, there are people who think that this is normal. There's people who think this is acceptable, that this is okay, even at the expense of someone else being affected by it. You know, I had a conversation a few months ago about this hypergamous nature, and if people would rather go after someone with financial security and sacrifice themselves for that over dealing with an average guy in order to ensure that they can take care of themselves without worrying about a roof over their head. So you chase after athletes and rappers and producers and doctors and all of this stuff, even though statistically you have a higher risk of dealing with someone who's most likely going to have multiple women not all, but you see it so much. It's like, all right, I'm more inclined to believe that this is true. Future, Ray J, uh, 21 Savage, NBA Young Boy. The list goes on. A whole bunch of these dudes, man. They got the money. They got everything that y'all be wanting. And you want this loyalty, but I'm thinking that you're at a place where it's like, man, you know what? I would just rather just play the Summer Walker role. I don't know. I can't get behind it, but it's not my place to get behind it. I just don't. If she would have a conversation explaining or kind of breaking down how she got to this conclusion, that would be one thing. But I don't know. She just seemed like she's broken to me. That smile don't mean nothing to me. You spending all that money don't mean nothing to me. Just because you famous don't mean you happy. There's a lot of people that are famous and wealthy and they're miserable. So
Yeah, man. So I don't know all them people you just named. That's great for all of them. They haven't hired me to help them out with their issues, so I can't necessarily speak to that shit. But what I can say is, what does the healed person look like? Because you mentioned a person's healed might not walk around or look a certain way or walk a certain way. Man, I don't think there's a real picture poster of a healed person. Now, some of the traits of somebody who's trying to heal might be easily identifiable versus somebody who's healed and is kind of walking around and put together. I think that might be too much of us projecting or hoping what we think a healed person might look like. The average guy that you talk about could be the person that started the trauma. Think about the neighborhoods and the places that, I'm not going to say us traditionally, I'm a little bit older than what she is, but I'll say mostly the people that were going through things are the ones that's pretty much, they put their head down and they go 100% at whatever it is that they're good at doing. That could be somebody, an employee at a burger establishment who makes the best cheeseburgers in town because he's got so much pain at home that he comes to work and puts all his all into making those burgers. And that's his version of healing. You got people that go to the gym and say that's their version of therapy. And that's not your version of therapy. That's your version of coping. You got people that say, I go to the club and I go dancing. That's my therapy. No, that's not your therapy. That's your coping mechanism, right? So I think a lot of times we say these things, we put these words out there. We don't necessarily have a true meaning of what it looks like when it's being implemented. So I won't put a lot into that. Obviously, people, you're talking about this young lady and she's on social media saying, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, how she's looking to get through her situations, but she got enough money to go get some therapists, coaches, a support system, a team. If she really, or if the people around her really wanted her to invest in her mental health and well-being versus outletting and venting to social media. I think you mentioned she was walking around with a sugar daddy and all this other shit. That's an outcry for something else, man. The fact that we even talking about it is lending too much positive from us to that negative energy. It's as simple as they have the money and they have the resources. What they tend to do with it, that's completely up to themselves. I would more or less highlight the fact that they aren't doing those things with the resources versus the people that are actually going through shit every day and trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense, I don't give a shit about Future, Ray J. I think I just saw him. They said he pulled a blicky on somebody on Thanksgiving. Why the hell are we talking about that? You know what I'm saying? There's so many people out here that ain't getting meals and they ain't getting food. But we talking about these individuals who have the option and have the resources to go out and get help if they want it. And they might not even be real issues. It might just be some shit to talk about on the internet, and they are at home enjoying their best lives. You know what I mean? It's all taking at face value. I don't know them, so I don't put a lot of stock into it. But I do know a lot of people, you know, out here in the neighborhood that needs help, and they need lifelines, man. You know, they need ways to figure out how to get to that next step. And there's some people that out here that can play the role as, quote unquote, as it says, you know, in the video, as a side chick, because that might be all they can handle at that particular moment. They don't necessarily, based on their situations and their experiences, they just need somebody to help them get through it. They can provide a little bit, and that's all they have to provide, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. They just don't have enough to commit to a full-term relationship, and it just might be something as far as emotionally sharing emotional relationships and getting a support system, maybe from that other individual that's in the relationship. A prime example would be the guy from Mayor of Kingstown, man. He just, I think it's Michael Beach or Breach. I don't know. I could look it up. I don't know. But the point is, he just came out and said that he lives with his wife and his ex-wife, and their family. And never in a million years did he think that would happen. But the support system that they have there, and they're in their 50s, 60s, and it's something that they came to grips with that can work out. But you got to have a conversation is the first thing. Roles and responsibilities. And essentially you're building a team. Now, it might not be traditionally in the team concept that you're looking for, but it is still a team. Call it the expansion team or EuroLeague team, whatever you want to call it, but it's still a team. And he talked about how he would be away from home for 6 to 8 months, and then those two created an even better bond, sisterhood, and they were able to help each other out. Now, I'm not saying that's good, bad, or indifferent, but I'm just saying there's different examples of things that are out there that are showing with communication, with experience and maturity, things are able to happen, and it can be beneficial for all parties involved. So it just depends on the perspective. You know what I mean? You can find, you know, something negative and something positive about any situation, but it's just, again, just depends on the individuals involved and what's the objective.
I find a lot of negative and positives in these stories, as frivolous as they may seem to many people. And I agree. Ray J, woohoo, okay. Celebrity gossip. Ooh, who cares? They're rich. We're not. Why? Who cares about how much money you spend on this and that? I don't care about none of that shit neither. What I care about is the fact that people worship these folks. I don't have to go to sleep tonight concerned about it because I don't worship none of them. I don't idolize none of them. And I don't have the same issues or comforts that they do. So it's not a big deal to me. What is a big deal to me is using that antidote to combat the venom that is intravenously fed to people via social media through men and women who have these platforms and this status, and they have the ability to regulate and control others, including a younger generation. So when you get on the camera and you boast and brag and you talk about how you can trick off and you can do this and do that, then you got these kids that don't really have nobody correcting that and saying, no, you do not want to listen to that, my nigga. That is not somebody that you should be following after. No, you should not be dressing like Sexy Red. No, you should not be listening to that type of music. No, you should not be sleeping with multiple people at the same time. That is not healthy. It's not a good look. You need to be focused on your education. You need to be focused on what is going to be a contributing factor positively in the community that helps bring people out of poverty, help people with their mental illness, get some folks off the street. Your message, if I'm, and correct me if I'm wrong, you want to help people. You want to see people excel and be better than what they was if they so choose to do so. We all have the choice. A lot of these adults, they don't seem to understand that just because you turn on the camera, that does not mean be reckless with every single thing you do. It's crazy. It's crazy as hell. She could get the help. I believe Sydney said it the other day. A lot of folks go to therapy just so that they can hear themselves talk. They don't really want you to tell them the real truth. If somebody pay, and a matter of fact, you mentioned this too as well. If they pay you to do a job, that means they understand that they're going to have to eat that. They're going to have to hear what you got to say. They have to be held accountable because they like, why would I pay for something and I'm not going to get my dollar out of it? I don't think that she would even go through that. There's too many people who would rather you just say yes to everything than to actually tell them, look, you need to do this and do that. I'm not even here to tell her what to do or what not to do. I don't agree with it being okay to tell women to be side chicks, or we're moving in an era where it's okay to sleep with married people's husbands, and that, like, that shit is corny and it's tasteless, it's tacky. That's not sister code. That's not sisterhood. That's not even, I don't know. I just can't get behind it. At least if you're gonna be out here doing that, have the conversations with these people. Be straight up. I don't mind being your booty call, whatever you want to call it. I do that. If the nigga got the if you got money and you got a whole bunch of women around you, tell them women, look, I ain't just fucking with you. I'm fucking with multiple people. You can either deal with it or not deal with it. But don't be out here just acting like you Casanova and shit, but you gotta lie in order to play out here in the field. And you got a whole wife and a whole family and shit. Just be straight up about what y'all want to do and then move accordingly. You got it.
Nah, yeah, I get you, man. I respect that. But like you said, you mentioned education, right? And then you mentioned jobs. So the issue you have right now is so many, and I'm not speaking on behalf of people. I'm just, so many people are upset. Just, what was it, like 72 hours ago, the thing that was rampant online was, I think it was nursing degrees, RNs, and a whole other list of onslaught of degrees came out, and they said that they weren't working degrees anymore, professional degrees anymore. So when they're deregulating degrees, the things that people are going to school for, it's kind of hard to tell people, kind of hard to pump education, because you pump education, you're telling people to go to school, they're getting into debt, and then now they can't even get jobs with said degrees, and then you got people like what we're talking about. They can go online and they can be performative with the information and the way that they may or may not actually be in real life over the internet, and it's easier for people to gravitate towards that. It's harder for people to hold themselves accountable and figure out what they need to do outside of a 4, 5, 6, 7, 10-year plan, because most people want the instant return. They want to be able to go online. They want to start an LLC. They want to start a business, and they want to be able to get that instant return, because nobody wants to wait 3, 4, 6 years after already struggling for the X amount of time that they've already been waiting. So that's what we're kind of combating right now. So I totally agree with you. So somebody working on themselves and they see a disadvantage, and it's almost like they find the benefit in forming alliances now versus actually putting the work in. We can be a co-op, build a team together. We all can eat, and it'll make it easier. And we can spend less time than actually going out here and say putting the next 6 to 8 years in, putting that work in. Because if the relationships don't work, people aren't putting in the work on themselves. Like you just said, they're expecting somebody else to come in and either guide them or drag them along the way to help them get to wherever the destination is. Knowing that you have to work on yourself and the other person in the party has to work on themselves, and then you have to figure out the chemistry piece. It's so many nuances and things that you have to put into it. I don't think people are willing to put that work in. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. You know, the instant culture, the microwave culture. Everybody wants everything now, but everything that's going to be beneficial and that will work out, it takes time. And I don't think people are willing to do that right now. So it's kind of hard to combat that when you have so many other alternate routes that you can take. And then especially if, like you just said, somebody's online or social media champion these things, and they might not necessarily be living those lives, because you hear about a lot of people, man, that's online, and then when they go home, it's completely different. Like the young boy out of Atlanta, was it Lil Baby or somebody? You know, all the things that he talks about in his music, and then he's graduating from a fairly great university, getting some prominent degrees, and going further in his plan and his trajectory in business. But you don't hear about those things. So those things are not necessarily highlighted, but the tomfoolery shit is. And that's what's more appealing, is that ignorant shit, man. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to make people think that they can get that instant gratification, which you can. It just won't last. It's not sustainable. And that's what caused the repetitive nature is for you to go out there and do dumb shit tomorrow, this afternoon. You know what I mean? The next 15 minutes. And then the continuous cycle goes over and over, because you got to keep feeding that shit. And they don't realize it. The same hard work and energy that you can put into that career path, that relationship that might be more beneficial towards you, 3 to 4 years from now versus 3 to 6 nights from now, you're still doing the same thing. You're just getting the instant gratification, and it's just not lasting long. So it's that instant fix, kind of like drinking, smoking, or whatever the case may be. Is you get that quick high, that quick fix, you crash out, you get up, and now you're doing the shit all over again. So it's repetitive. It's the same process, man. It just depends on what lens that you view it from.
So moving forward, do you think we cooked, man? Do you think we cooked? Like, I don't, because
society or what?
like as a society, like the way that we're either you're being forced to accept things that you wouldn't have 10, 15, 20 years ago, or you're being canceled for speaking out against things that you're against. They're trying to make you adapt to stuff that we never would have.
Yeah, man. That's always been the way. I mean, the way of the 90s, right? State property, get down and lay down. Everybody's walking around championing that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Now it's so much of, move, get out the way, that all of society has adapted to that. And then the people that realized that wasn't the wave or the way to go had figured out another metric. And the inmates are running the asylum at this point, man.
Ladies, I'm gonna say this, and this is just me personally. You gotta love yourself better than this. You do. This ain't it. You mean to tell me that y'all would rather share a guy, risk getting a disease that you can't get rid of, risk having children with someone that is already with somebody? You would rather be the 15th and 16th baby mama to somebody who got money just because they got money. Y'all selling yourself short. Not all of you, right?
Right. Can't speak for everybody. You can't say everybody.
Yeah. But I mean, if it don't apply, let it fly. It should. I hear these type of things about men ain't this and that. I don't take it personally because I know it's not for everybody. What I'm saying is for folks that think like her, come on, you gotta get some help. And if you ain't willing to help yourself, don't put nobody else at risk because of the damage that's been done to you. Because I know that there's a lot.
Go ahead.
There's, and I've had conversations with a few ladies about things like this. They're not thrilled about this. They don't blend in with this at all. They think that is just all types of negative words I don't want to speak. They feel ashamed that you hold yourself to such a low standard. Your idea of what love look like, what a healthy relationship looks like, your lack of willingness to do the work is absolutely sad to me. I hate seeing it. I hear her talk. I hate seeing it. She should be a wife. She should. But then again, the way that she's moving, I don't know if that's in the cards for her. Not thinking like that. You willing to that man wife probably will pull up on Summer Walker. She done already for somebody over dude. And she shouldn't even be fighting over him. You should have been left him. Why are you staying in the first place? You know he a cheater. You know he's going to keep doing it, but you still there. And you making yourself look dumb crashing out over somebody who don't have enough respect for you to give you the option whether or not you want to be there or leave and find somebody who actually wants a monogamous relationship. Do what y'all want. I want to see better for you, for a lot of you. Now, I'm not talking about all of you, a lot of you. I want to see better for you. If you don't want it, keep on going the way you're going. It's temporary, like he said. You're only gonna get but so much mileage on that body before you get to Vivica Fox age, and you got that whole diaper bag BBL, and your face is all discombobulated. Like, stop, man! I'm telling you, you got it though.
No, I say it goes back to the repetitive thing, man. Is again, you only know what you know, and if that's the type of relationships you used to being in, you don't necessarily know. You might not know how to exit. You might not, because emotions and feelings are involved. So It sounds like kids are involved. So these are all serious things. And sometimes people don't know how to escape it. The person that's in an abusive relationship, being younger, I had a few cousins that would get into a few altercations, or just knowing a few females that would get into altercations. And what happens? You step in, you try to help out, and then they both end up kicking your ass, or either you end up getting some part of the disadvantage of that situation, and you had good intentions going in to help. It's the same thing, man. It's just on a larger scale. And some of these people are caught up in that same ideology, and they now just empowered with an abundance of cash. And if you couldn't tell them nothing before that, and they stood tall and prideful in their relationships, within their situations, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to try to tell somebody that when at the end of the day, they're going to look and say, hey, how can you tell me? You're saying I'm in such a bad relationship or situationship, and I'm doing a lot better than you. Again, it's all subjective. You know, it's open to interpretation of whomever the individual is. But you have to keep in mind too, if everybody was in such an uproar, then why isn't everybody trying to reach out and help these individuals out? You know, for all the people that are so offended or shocked by how some of these folks are acting, why isn't a larger community of people, you know, talking about mental health and identifying the problems? You know, interventions. I mean, we're so worried about how society is so messed up, but what are we really doing? The people that are quote unquote trying to help, you see them online there, they're talking down to people. They don't necessarily know how to talk to people. And a lot of times people are caught up in their own situations, and they're so disgusted by other people's situations that they aren't the right person to convey those messages. Because you know how it is, man. More times than not, it's the messenger, not necessarily the message itself. So I think that's what it's all entailed. I think we've all been in relationships, or we've known somebody that we probably tried to tell somebody something, and we knew damn well we probably had more experience, and we probably had the more level head throughout the conversation. But just because based on who you were, they probably, the moment you opened your mouth, they were like, hell no, I ain't trying to hear nothing that they're saying. You know what I mean? And now you pissed off. Now you emotional, you know, saying how these things aren't necessarily great for the situation or society or the environment or just the lineage of people that you're around. But they don't give a shit, man, because it's coming from you, right? A lot of people get pissed off when they go out and talk to other people and they give them the same information, and it's the same shit you just said, but they aren't listening, i.e. parents with kids. You know what I mean? If you got kids and you tell your kids things that, you know, hey, don't do it. When I did it this way, you give different examples and nobody want to hear about it, man. Just because you did it that way doesn't mean I'm going to do it that way. Or you probably didn't have the vision that I had. You probably didn't have the experience that I had. It's always something and that's why it just goes back to, again, sometimes it's the messenger. And we just got to do a better part and a better job, you know, for the people that we say we actually care about, and probably finding the actual messenger themselves to deliver the message. Because a lot of times it's ego on our part too. You know, they won't listen. You know better. You know you're making a decision, and then sometimes people just say forget it and just give up on that situation. So before it can be remedied, the person who might have had a pulse on it might have given up and just said, you know what, hey, it is what it is. So be it. So be it. Let you do your thing. You know what I mean? And that's where the experiences come into play. And that's when you have to look at people and you say, you know what, when they hit rock bottom, they'll figure it out, or they won't, because they ain't nowhere else to go once you hit the bottom or back up. Over to you.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I have nothing else really to say about it. I hope she gets some type of help, right? When it's all said and done, as somebody who has been second and put myself in that place because I didn't believe I deserved more than what I was getting. I see the signs. I ain't a psychologist. I ain't licensed or none of that. My experience speaks for me. So when I see things like this, I kind of understand, and I'm not even knocking her for it. Is you hate to see anybody going through stuff like that, but yeah, all of us are adults. Make your voices clear and heard. If you in the polygamy stuff, that's fine. I ain't the one to judge it. If you want monogamy, have the conversations. Whatever it is that you decide to enter in with the other person, make sure you have those conversations. The communication part is always important. She was, at least she was honest about it when she said, like, hey, I just want to do my thing over here. I'm not trying, I don't want to do,
Right, and that might be the accountability piece. That might be the first step, right? Is, you know what? This is what's working for me right now at this particular stage. Let me just, this is all I can deal with. And then if that is the accountability piece, you got to applaud that, because people can tell you everything that you want, man. Life is an open book test. You know what I mean? Again, we say this all the time. You know, smart people learn from their mistakes, wise people learn from others. But sometimes you got to figure it out on your own, because it's just that, again, that nature versus nurture is based on how you grew up. Are you surviving, or are you living life open-mindedly and willing to, you know, take in pros, cons, and then make informed decisions? But if you're just surviving, you're not trying to hear any of that shit. You know what I mean? You just, hey, look, I don't want no problems. This is what works. I see you when I can. And it's kind of what she alluded to. It's like, hey, look, man, I see you every couple of days. We just keep the peace and just go on about your business. And that might be a launching point. And that's not necessarily the end all be all, but I don't know her history. And if that's a different role than she's traditionally taken, then you just got to allow that grace and say, okay, like I mentioned earlier, that might be progress. It might not be progress in everybody else's eyes of what progress looks like, but it might be a little bit of a break of the norm from what she's used to doing. And those patterns, again, it's all about patterns. So it might be a little bit of away from the norm and just going in a different area. Because at the end of the day, people are still human. You know, people still got their vices. They like what they like. And then, you know, things are good in moderation. Instead of going full in, you know, getting chocolate wasted, ease up off the throttle a little bit, put some sprinkles on that joint and sample it. You know what I mean? Have a little bit after dinner. You know what I mean? So yeah, moderation is good. And then you just watch for those keys, because like you said, you can always see one step forward, two steps back, then you know we got a problem. But yeah, man, I not to be circular. Great conversation though. That's all I got on that one.
Yeah, this was dope. Shout out to everybody who pulled in this morning. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Shout outs to, let me go back real quick to the comments section. Jessica Scott for the love from the UK. Appreciate you for hanging out with us. Starboy tonight. Ted, blessings to y'all. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Yeah, we about to get up out of here. Tap in with us later on, 8 o'clock, if you're in the building. Don't know what time it is where you at. But y'all have a blessed afternoon. And more to come.
Yeah.
Oh, do me a solid.
Yeah.
Oh, do me a solid before y'all head out.
Push the goddamn button back.
Appreciate.
Mantra, slave song, slave ship, rip skin, made me rip bones. But no matter how close I hide, my ancestors speak. They tell me the tide isn't run on us like we're weak. I haven't been getting sleep. Longing to sing until I surpass peak. Until they think we are equal, please. All I want is peace. My ancestors beat drums until their bones would bleed. Begging the generations remember our story.